Rosemary Medel. Welcome to the Positioning to Profit podcast. I am so excited to have you here. We in our community in Prolific Cafe call Rosemary the Oracle. Because in all the discussions that we have, and we have really candid, real, awesome conversations about business, about what it means to be a woman in business. And then somewhere along, if we get stuck, if we get in a pickle, we just all go quiet and we're like, Rosemary, what do you think? And then the Oracle comes through with this, just nails it with the wisdom. So I'm so happy to bring her, to the audience because you have so much to say and I love the work that you're doing. I think it's really important. So before I get all over myself talking about you, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Patty. I'm happy to be here. I'm still laughing with the Oracle comment. My family.
It's real. It's the real designation, and it is only going to be allocated to you forevermore. Just so you know, only you.
Just to put it in context, I'm one of the oldest people in the group, even though I don't buy into looking that old. But once
no, you definitely
in comparison, I have many more miles.
Yes, you do.
Than the other members. So that's what I bring to it. It's not that I'm smarter or I can tell the future. I've just done more stupid stuff.
I'll tell you what, though, there's a wisdom. I love the summit that we did for Damn, I wish somebody would have told me that. You came through. Tina Lorenz is somebody else who I admire so much. She's a copywriter and she calls herself something like a rebel against retirement. And you both come to mind when I think about just gutsy women who are just getting started. Because when you talk to Tina, she's like, I'm just getting started. I'm creating an anti-retirement movement and people need to know about this. So you, on the same boat, you say that you help women confidently buy their dream home while saving time and money, which I think is really important. And I, for one, had no idea how much of a disparity there is in home buying by gender, right? According to gender, and just so many of the fun statistics that you share about that. So as somebody who first bought her first home, your first property, at the age of 43, as well as being an urban planner, you have such a wealth of information. You are also a certified high performance coach, bringing in your life experiences and professional training to your clients. You bring a wealth of information on this topic. And which, total aside, I didn't know that you were a singer in a band. Why haven't we never talked about that? We need to talk about that somehow. That is the coolest thing ever. I love you. I'm so happy that you're here. You're a realtor, real estate investor, author, speaker. You're bringing it all. So for the women that are out there thinking about the largest purchase that they have to consider, I'd love for you to share some of those statistics that you've shared with me that you really feel like people need to know. Women need to know about these things. So go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So in January of 2020, Yale University actually released a study that demonstrates that there is definitely a gender gap in the way women and men purchase property. There's also the way it's sold. So there is a 2% discrepancy. Women will pay 2% more than their male counterpart or sell for 2% less. Now they start to see, how does that impact someone's financial future? As we know, real estate is one of the primary methods for an individual to build wealth in our country. So if you're buying it at a higher price, that change is going to impact you in the long run. Now, certainly, the longer you keep a property, the market's going to adjust and you're going to make improvements and you'll start to close that gap. But the difference with women purchasing property is they're looking at different things. So a man will take more risk. Inherently, they have learned to do many more things. They can paint, they can do construction, they can do plumbing, electrical, all these things that they can start to reduce the level of risk that they're taking. I can repair that myself, no big deal. They're more likely to buy a home with more repairs, the fixer-uppers, if you will. So they're doing that. And now we're getting more women who are willing to do that as well. And they're single women, their concerns or their priorities as based on the National Association of Realtors. So each year they release home buying methods that people are using. They're talking about, well, And they break all the categories from all buyers to single women to single men to families, couples, married, unmarried, the whole gamut. So for single women, the most important thing to them certainly is the quality of a neighborhood, certainly your safety, right? You're looking, are you going to be close to friends and family? Affordability, lot size is even a consideration, near their job, and then convenient to shopping and services. One of the surprising statistics is that they even listed convenient to veterinarians. And
Oh,
that was like
right.
the largest one. I'm going, oh, because women
Mhm.
purchase dogs not as only companions, but as security.
Security.
Right? So that made total sense that they would do that. So when they're purchasing, they consider all these factors. And we know in the past 2 years, it has totally been a seller's market. Multiple offers, people are foregoing home inspections, which I would never, ever advise. Even if you're
Wow.
paying cash, just you need to know what you're buying. And men can do that real quickly. Or the study even talked about, is it that they're hiring the right realtor to help them so that they're a better advisor to them? Because ultimately, your due diligence is up to you. You have to do your homework, and you're signing on the contract. If you just read it, it'll say, we do not advise you to forego the home inspection process.
So,
Right?
out of curiosity, is that really something that people do, that they forego the home buying inspection process?
Yes,
Oh my
they do.
gosh, I would never think of that. It's like you're really
Realtors
gambling.
cringe. Now you have to remember the job of a realtor is to handle the transaction, but to also be an advisor. There could be realtors out there who are very experienced who would say, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah.
However, one of the challenges that we have right now throughout the country is low inventory. Now, what we're finding as a result of the low interest rates is people were refinancing. So why would you
Mhm.
sell your home, even though you're going to make a larger profit, and you have a 3% interest rate on it, and you're going to go buy something else that's at 7?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense unless you're really downsizing. So people are withholding the sale of their homes right now. So that's what we're finding. Not a lot of builders are building, not a lot of people are selling now. So we'll start to see changes in the economy. So all those factors are things that are looked at when you start to build wealth, but you start to go through the purchasing process. So I could just go on in this, but one of the factors that I saw from being an urban planner and then representing clients when I was in the private sector is that women don't go to City Hall to verify all the disclosures that have been given to them in the purchase of a property. So, by some miracle, if your offer is accepted, in California, you have 17 days to conduct your due diligence. That means get a home inspector done, look through the environmental records. We all know the hazards that are happening throughout the country, certainly with flood, fire, all these potential damages. Those are additional costs for you to have insurance
Yeah.
on that. So you could start to see where it becomes a little scary to have a mortgage, higher interest rate, insurance, home insurance that's required when you have a loan on the property. And then you had hazard insurance that is that as well. So even though the majority of sales right now is still continues to be single family detached homes, a lot of single households, so men and women, are looking at condos and townhomes because they reduce that level of risk. But more men are willing to take on a home because they can make repairs. If it's an issue, they could move. It's no big deal. They're not taking kids out of school to do that, where women are. So that's some of the challenges. Certainly one of the things you'd want to look at when looking at a neighborhood. And
Mm.
it's come out on YouTube. Here's a checklist, go around at different times of the day, even the weekend, and start to see. But there's even from a planner's perspective, so much more. And you're looking at any security doors on the front? Are there any fences that have been raised? Are there any inoperable vehicles located anywhere in the neighborhood? And if they are, and you still think, but it's in the right school district, I can afford this home, I can paint, I can make some minor repairs, I'm still willing to go in there. Okay,
Yeah.
but you do it with your eyes wide open once you know how to conduct your due diligence. So now you're in the property, you have issue with your neighbor, or you're asking, why is my neighbor constructing this? Was there a permit? So who do you talk to in City Hall? That's where my program comes in. You ask the right questions, which department does what, who's responsible in City Hall for on-site and off-site, so street, any public right-of-way, or private property. So as a homeowner, you still have all these rights. People in general just aren't aware of them.
Navigating it feels like it's so many different things, and it's not something that people do all the time, right? Typically,
No.
as you said, you'll buy a house, the biggest purchase of their life. And you have on your website, it's the biggest purchase of your life. Please do your homework. And it's the thing was like, what homework? We don't know what we don't know. And so that's why you putting together this free home buying checklist is so helpful, because it outlines exactly that, the things that people need to know. And then your due diligence, like a pro framework, I think is something that I'm assuming helps people guide them through all of the essentials that they need. And so how much time does this process take?
You could have a pretty good grasp in a 6-week program to
Okay.
learn that. And certainly our interaction. So if you already have your realtor, you're in the process, you need to ask questions. Now, in addition to the home buying checklist, I've also added a how to hire a realtor
Oh, I love
checklist. How,
that.
the questions that you need to be asking. The National Association of Realtors survey states that people hire typically the first realtor they interview,
Yeah.
which is fine if they're coming from a referral. That's all fine. However, you need to hire someone that has similar values to you, that will really listen to what's important to you and not worry about creating that sale, but having a long-term relationship with someone that you can truly trust. And there are plenty of realtors out there like that, men and women, but it's just knowing what to ask and having that confidence that someone is truly going to be on your side.
I love it. And in this due diligence, like a pro program, you have detailed information on establishing a strong foundation, evaluating the neighborhood, who to listen to. That's a really big one. Because when you're buying a home, I know we've been in this home for a while, but people will give you their 2 cents. And how do you how do you
They
really know that
do.
they know what they're talking about? And then why homeownership matters, the pros and cons of resale or new construction, and then the whole preparing to shop process, the importance of getting pre-qualified, how to hire a buyer's agent, like you mentioned, avoiding buyer errors that could cost you money and time. Don't leave money on the table. That's a really big one. And then you make your money when you buy, determining who does what. What's your realtor's job, real estate ethics, buyer advisory, buyer rights and duties. So all of the things that I would never in a million years. And I feel like I know I'm an educated woman, but this would be something I'm like, I literally have no idea. This is something that unless you have the guidance of somebody like Rosemary to help you in this process. I thought this was really interesting too on your website when you said, okay, 2%, but as you listed here, as of 2021, the average home in California is nearing $800,000. So 2% of that is 16,000. That's a 16,000 mistake, or that's a ton of money.
And that's the money you could potentially be leaving on the table.
Yeah.
Now, because of the buying frenzy that we had, and certainly in California, and we pay for our weather, and if you were to elect to, yeah, I can afford that, it's in the right neighborhood, I need the schools, I need my children to go to this school, it's still a good investment, that's fine, but do it with your eyes wide open.
Yeah.
I know that I am paying a premium price, but my intent is to live here a minimum of 10 years, quite forever home, but this is where I want to be. This is the price I have to pay. Good with it.
Yeah. Well done. And I also see that you have, how long has it been, become a women-owned certified through the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. I think that's an important distinction as well. Because if anybody is in a corporation that is listening to this, somebody like Rosemary adds a level of, I don't know, credibility, because I know that's a pretty rigorous process, is it?
It is.
Can you talk a little bit about that in general? Because I think that we take these things for granted. And I know because I was along this journey as you were giving updates to us, and it seemed like it took forever.
Thanks to you, because I'm in Patty's community. Patty suggested, because of being a realtor and a high performance coach, hey, you should get certified as a woman-owned business.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right. I should. Let me start the process.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, I
Yeah.
got certified. The scrutiny is as a result of corporations, government, who need to verify that when someone indeed says they are women-owned, that they are.
Yeah.
Because there is major penalties for them meeting their quotas of diversity.
Yes.
So I certainly understand that. I'm certified by WeBank, and they are one of the largest third-party certifications in the nation.
Excellent.
In fact, we are converging in the lovely city of Nashville, which I've never been. So being a music person,
Yay.
looking forward to going there.
Yes.
And we'll have the opportunity to meet before corporations and government entities. Now, for me, I think this value is something that major real estate firms like Redfin, Zillow, all of these would find value in reassuring the female buyer that we can offer you a system or direct you to a woman-owned business that can reassure you and give you the confidence to purchase a home and close that gap in creating that wealth, that gender wealth.
That would be so great if you are in front of these companies and they can see the value that you can bring, and then you're helping to educate their customer, their client at a higher level so that they feel really good about it. That lends to their brand trust, right? People trusting those
Absolutely.
brands to point them in the right direction. You can be that intermediary that is that key conduit so that the transaction goes over without a hitch. So I think this is a very exciting time, because as you're presenting these ideas about what you can do, this due diligence like a pro framework, and talking about the value that brings, it's a win. It's a win for you. It's a win for the client, of course, and a win for the company that has made that introduction to say, hey, we're in alignment ethically that what we're doing here is for that person's highest good in the biggest transaction of their life, presumably.
Yes, and women continue to outpace men in the purchasing of property. Even though they make 83 cents on the dollar compared to men, they are finding some way through their hard work, through their effort, to purchase property. Now, I want to make it a little easier for them. You know, the
Good for
greatest
you.
joy is handing someone their key in their hand. Here you go. You did it.
It is a big moment.
Right?
It is a big
Yes.
moment. Okay, so tell me, Rosemary, about this free home buying checklist. So that would be the starting point, right?
So they're just going to click on the link. They will receive an email from me, and they're going to get the home buying checklist. Certainly everyone knows, get your mortgage or financing in order, preparing to go shopping. You never want to go shopping without any money in your pocket. That pre-qualification letter makes you a much more desirable buyer to the seller.
Yeah.
And start having everything in an order. But the next thing you're going to get is also how to hire that realtor. You'll have this list of questions so that you don't feel like you're drilling someone, but they're professionals. They will appreciate the fact that you've done some homework. And when you hire them, it's based on your own due diligence to hire the best person to represent you. And then they'll have a fiduciary responsibility to do the best job they can for you.
I love it. I love it. I'm almost thinking, as I'm seeing what you can do, wouldn't it be cool if companies sponsored you?
That would be great.
That'd be kind of cool. So
That would
maybe
be
like
great
put that
too.
on there as an option. Company
Will do.
sponsoring where you're doing like a webinar series or some kind of a series with their, because it gives them great PR. It gives you great exposure. Again, when I see this as a really big opportunity for bigger corporations, and because you're a women-owned business enterprise, I think that would be stellar. So I wanted to make sure I said that before I forget.
Wonderful. I'm
Because
writing that down, Patty. 'Cause you're awesome.
them sponsoring you is a really, really big opportunity. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and transition to the Fast Five, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
It's just some fast 5 questions, fun questions that would make it really to see organically what your thought process is. Are you ready?
Okay. All this without a glass of wine.
We should do a whole other episode with the glass. All right. Number one, what would make this year a great year for you?
Oh my gosh, to get this program out there to a
Yeah.
corporation. Yeah. Yeah.
I
That
agree.
would be awesome.
Number two, what would you consider your greatest achievement?
Oh, my adult children, certainly.
Aw.
I told you I need testimonials from them because I
Mhm.
was their first coach. Yeah.
I love
them,
that.
certainly.
Number three, person, place, or thing. What is one thing that inspires you?
Women, how hard they work,
Yeah.
how they'll take on so many jobs just to help their kids or to get through school or to do whatever it takes attitude. I love
I
that. Women
agree.
are amazing.
We are amazing. We are.
Yeah.
Number four, when was the last time you felt like a real rock star? Like you felt elated, like you could just do anything?
Well, I always think that people just fight to get tickets to the front row of a concert, when in actuality, the best seat is from the stage, performing in front of them. That's the best seat in the house.
I love that. And last question, after all is said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
My grandson just told me, because I cook with them, I'm baking and cooking. He goes, I think your legacy is going to be cooking. And you
Oh,
can write down all your recipes.
oh, that's so sweet. How old's your grandson?
He's 11.
Oh, wow. So astute.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And he told me, I believe your legacy is going to be cooking. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
That's awesome. And out of curiosity, is there a dish that is just like the thing you're known for?
He asked if I want to go against Bobby Flay and does he
Mm.
think I could beat him?
That would be
That I
cool.
should make my meatloaf. But I'm also, I bake now sourdough bread and
Yes.
cook and Mexican food. And yeah. And of
All of
course,
it.
I do this with having a glass of wine. So he wants to know, so how old do I have to be to have a glass of wine with you while you're cooking? I go, oh, I have to be 21, but I don't know if you'll like it.
That's so cute. Okay, so he's 10 years away.
Yes. And he goes, are you and I still going to have a YouTube channel where we can talk about things? Absolutely.
Oh,
let's
that's
do
so
it.
cute. I love that. That's so adorable. You're really making some solid memories for him, for sure. So positive. All right, y'all. So we are going to include rosemarymedel.com in our show notes, but make sure to go there. Rosemary with a Y at the end, and then medel.com. You'll land on her page, and then there's a free home buying checklist that you'll want to download. That checklist is going to start empowering you to make the right kind of decisions, because she says here right at the front that she's going to help you confidently buy your dream home while saving you time and money. And she says the biggest purchase of your life. Please do your homework, people. Please do your homework. So just downloading that free home buying checklist is going to go ahead and get you started. Rosemary, I think you're amazing. And I'm excited to see what transpires for you this year and beyond. Like I said, you're just getting started. There's so much impact that you can have. And I have no doubt that this information will help so many women out there. So thank you for sharing your.
Thank you. And you're the one and Prolific Cafe that have really brought this to fruition, creating that clarity and that positioning. And yeah, I'm ready to go.
Excellent. Yay. All right, y'all. So head on over to the show notes at pattydominguez.com, or you can go to positioningexpert.com and it'll be right there for this episode. So Rosemary, thank you. And you'll have to let us know how this whole corporate idea goes, because I really think there's something there on the sponsorship side. So that'll be a nice topic to follow up on. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Patty.